executive for that area, Osebun. So he's asking the police to shoot any civilian who attacks them. According to him, the police were not giving guns to shoot animals in the bush, but fire at lawless people. He calls his call come on the back of a recent attack on the police by some irate youth at Sankore in the Bonahafo region. Speaking of the Deba in the area, Mr. Bonsu said the move will ensure peace in the district.
What is happening in the Sunafo South, particularly Sankore, is not good. As a DCE, I find it worrying. I don't understand why in the 21st century citizens will attack the police and beat them up. I stand here as DCE to declare that anyone here at Kukum who intends to attack the police and will not use lawful means and decides to break the law, we will deal with them. I urge the police, the guns in your possession were not given to you to kill animals in the bush. Anyone who wants to attack the police should shoot them. Looking at the recent disturbances in Sankore, if the police hadn't used their guns, we would have met the corpse of all the officers here.
And we'll be speaking to the District Chief Executive shortly, who made this call today. I'll also get into the phone lines to speak to the police commander for that particular region who got the directive. I remember that as a District Chief Executive, he is not only the political representative of the president in the district, but he's also the chairman of the District Security Council. And of course, he joins us on the telephone line right now. We'll speak to him shortly. But first, let's speak to security analyst Adams Bonner, who is also the Chief Executive Officer of the Security Warehouse Limited. Mr. Bonner, thank you for your time here on NewsNite. We just heard the District Chief Executive for Sunafo South, Osei Bonsu, stating, asking the police there. Remember, he's also the chair of the District Security Council, that they should shoot civilians who attack them. Is that an approach that works? Because he believes that's how we can get peace.
Thank you very much, Evans, and good evening to your cherished listeners. Well, I'm surprised the media is not picking this up. I think this statement was made either Friday, Saturday, but I picked this information not today. And I was surprised a whole district chief executive would make such a statement that they should shoot people who, attack the police station or attack police officers. And so it begs the question how some of these people are appointed, what work is done. Do we check them well before they are appointed? Because excuse my words, but let me not sound too harsh, but I'm not expecting our leaders to make such statements, to the police, telling the police to shoot, or the military, those who are mandated to carry firearms to shoot at us, when probably we misunderstand certain things. And so for me, probably the Flagstaff House would have to call him, the Ministry of Interior, and the state agencies who are responsible for some of these things would have to call him, because he's the DISEC, he's the chairman for DISEC in that district. And so for him to ask, it's an invitation to shoot on site. Another member of parliament made this statement, I think, somewhere this year. And so to have him also make this statement is quite worrying and reprehensible.
But he makes the point there that what do you expect the police to do when they are under attack from a mob? They have to defend themselves.
I mean, Evans, if you say if there is a misunderstanding and there is a mob, I mean, how many of this? We've seen not too many of them. But I would have been asking him to, ask for putting money with regards to educating the people within his district, letting them know that, you see, the police is there for you, and letting the police know that you don't have to also engage in acts that would, enrage, or get the young people to, gang at you and maybe come after you, even though one will say it is unlawful for any police station to be attacked. I mean, I'll be the first to condemn such an attack. But I'll also be quick to condemn any of our leaders or any of our leaders who who would make such a comment and say that, you know what, shoot on sight any person who attacks a police station. I think if we do that, some of these police stations are not even well resourced. It's an invitation for chaos and anarchy in his district. And so I think it's good the mainstream media houses are now picking it up. And I'm hoping that the leadership of this country will call some of the appointees to book. They will call them and sit them down, maybe probably school them with regards to what their limits should be when it comes to using the security agencies.
Does it matter? Does it make what he said any more serious that if you consider the fact that he's also the chair of the District Security Council, which means that the police that he was addressing in cases answer to him as a security head in that particular district? Does it matter? That does make it even more serious?
It matters so much. It matters so much. It's a constitutional provision that district chief executives, regional ministers are supposed to be, municipal chief executives are supposed to be in charge of the RECSEC. And RECSEC is not just for the police. You are talking about BNI. You can mention if the military should go there today, all those people come under him. That is what it means. So it matters so much. We expect these people to be people who, are supposed to be behaving so well, people who we can fall on when there is, emergency situations. And so when such a person, invites the police that shoot at them, all he's doing is to tell the people to arm themselves. I think, I don't know whether an eye for an eye is what he's calling for, because it's almost telling the citizens to arm themselves, because then you have openly declared some form of war against your own people within the community. And so I would have been expecting probably a police commander or the district commander makes such a statement. Then you will call the police commander to book, call him and let him know that, no, you cannot do that. You have to always dialogue with the people. And so is he saying that if the people should demonstrate and they are in front of the police station, the police should fire at them? The people demonstrate and they are in front of a police station, armless. They don't, defenseless, they don't have arms. The police should fire at them. This is a clear invitation for the police within the district or probably other districts to take up arms against people who probably are not happy about something, even though those of us who speak, against these things will say that the people should not mass up against the police or demonstrate in front of police stations. But when you have a whole DC making this statement, then you realize that some of our DCs, we need to check them. And
very quickly, what do you expect? What do you expect the DC's bosses to do about this statement? Remember that it has been made. The police answer to him. If in the next, God forbid, the next attack happen, they might carry out the instructions. They just go for the DCE. What do you expect the DC's bosses and the police chiefs to do about this now?
Well, if I was a minister of local government, I would have investigated him and interrogated this further. I would have interdicted him because I monitored that statement not today. I would have interdicted him and then call for a probe into why a DCE would call for the police to fire at demonstrators. How many people have demonstrated in front of a police station with firearms? So if I were the Minister of Local Government, because I would have actually call for his interdiction whilst we investigate this. If we get to know his motive and he has to be reinstated, fine. If not, we look for somebody who would call for dialogue instead of using firearms against,
civilians.
Citizens.
I am grateful that you joined us. Adams Bonai is a security analyst, is the chief executive officer of the Securities Warehouse Limited. A number of you have been in touch on this story, expressing your own thoughts on what you just heard the district chief executive say. This one, Charles in East Legon says, what the DC is urging the police to do is inappropriate. The police will end up killing and abusing the gun. We must be cautious and do what is right. Farouk says the directive by the district chief executive is unfortunate. Ghana is governed by a law and regulations. Elliot says this DCE must be seriously sentenced to death by our court for making this unthinkable comment on civilians. And Ernest Nkukum says it's clear the DCE doesn't know the laws of the land. He should read Article 13.2 of the Constitution, yet they will not resource NCCE to educate them. He needs to be reprimanded for this unfortunate statement. Keep your comments coming on our WhatsApp console. We'll share it with the rest of the world. Now, to some NDC politics now. A leadership of the National Democratic Congress have today sent out a strong warning to all presidential candidate aspirants that they will be sanctioned. There are disciplinary sanctions in the party's constitution that will be applied to any aspirant who uses disparaging comments or attacks their opponents unnecessarily. Well, it comes on the day when one of the aspirants and the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Abang Bagbain himself, has been attacking the leadership of the party, accusing them of greed, neglect, and neglecting greed as well as neglecting the hard-working members of the NDC, which he says is responsible for the electoral defeat of the NDC. The Member of Parliament for Nadole Khalil tells Joy News leadership at the time either failed to listen or ignored key recommendation that could have turned the situation around. Mr. Bagbain, who is currently touring parts of the country to whip up support for his presidential ambition, tells my colleague Elton Brobe the rank and file of the party in the grassroots are yet to overcome the neglect of their loyalty and sacrifice to the party in the last 8 years.
We realize that one could see the pain and anguish in the audience, and the reflected neglect, which meant that all over the years we've not been able to reach out to our support base and to energize them to continue to anchor the party in power. And so I empathized with them. I've lived it with them, and I saw that there was a need for us to do more to energize and empower our people. It looks like NDC has got it wrong. They have always neglected their own, and this has led to a bit of a withdrawal, I must say, of much of our following. Examples such as the support we used to have on the women front, led by the 31st December women. The support we used to have in the Zongos, led by the Zongo caucus. The support we used to have in the youth, led by the tertiary institutions. And the support we used to have even in Volta region, our World Bank. Now, all are dwindling. It meant that we are not doing something right.
Is that the reason for the party's defeat in the last elections, the neglect that you spoke about?
Well, you know, we as a party established the Professor Kwesi Boche committee. I happen to be a member of the committee, and the committee toured the whole region. For some good reason, I couldn't tour because I had to be in Parliament. But the report of the committee is revealing. For good reason, we decided that that report was not for the public. It is for NDC. That is an NDC committee. Okay. It is part of the reasons why we lost the election. The neglect of the party, the rank and file, and the greed of a few people. And so we tried looking at it, and I, being around for some time, have a few proposals to turn these things around. So, and will do anything in their power to make sure I win the flag bearership race.
So this neglect, was the leadership in the run-up to the 2016 election made aware of? Because I know that you were also a majority leader. Were you aware of this neglect, and was something done about it, to the extent that you lost almost 1 million votes, and the unprecedented in the history of parliamentary democracy, the MPP has 169 seats?
The statement that leadership is cause, everything else is effect, becomes true, because everybody looks up to the leader. And so sometimes you get this information, you pass them on, either the leader will believe in it, will take it up, but for some reason is unable, as a leader with all the powers. The leader makes and omits, he appoints and disappoints everybody. And so the leader might not be in the position to implement it. But I think that leadership got that message, but it looks like the strategy we adopted could not address that challenge, and therefore it also contributed to the loss of the party.
From what you've been told by the delegates, is there still hope for the NDC, especially in 2020? Are the issues that got the people out from voting for the party, are they ready to iron it out? And also speak about people who have left after the party lost power. Who are these people and why have they left?
Well, I have seen that the ground is fertile. Our people are energized. They are ready and willing to fight for the party again. They are only looking up to how we conduct our primaries and how we are able to regroup to win power. They are looking up to us giving them hope and committing ourselves to credible leadership that will assure them that this time around when we are in power, we will not repeat the errors of the past. We are saying, I know, and I have told them, and I have proposed simple solutions which they will buy in. And I believe that I'll win the flag bearership race because there are simple ways of restructuring our party.
Well, that's the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Abambabi, speaking to my colleague, Elton Broby. Well, he's not the only one in the race to become flag bearer for the NDC going into the 2020 elections. There are others who have officially declared their intention to run. We're talking about Joshua Alabi Prof, who is former head of the UPSA, Kospio Gabra, former trade minister. We've also had Sylvester Mensah, former head of the NHIA, have all declared formally that they will run. Well, today, the executives of the NDC have called a press conference and they were absolutely firm in insisting that candidates who go on the limb and attack others will be sanctioned, including the threat to expel such candidates from the party. Listen to Asedu Nketia, who's the General Secretary of the NDC. And in fact, in the last few days, Abambabi himself has been attacking former President John Dramani Mahama, calling him on Friday as a reckless driver over the weekend. He alleges that party executives neglected the party. Meanwhile, they were buying V8s and building mansions. Asedu Nketia says that there will be consequences.
There is as well. What are your words for these individuals?
No, we are dealing with it, but we don't announce publicly what we are doing about it. So about 3 situations have come to our attention, and we have initiated some process to deal with it. So it should be under control.
So, I mean, issues about Abambabi, John Mahama, Sly.
I have said that there are things that are better dealt with, not in the press. So we are dealing with those things.
So what are these
I don't want to.
Did the party,
I'm saying that
members of the party petition you?
No. We are also monitoring. We have a system of monitoring. So 3 issues came to our attention, and we have taken steps to deal with them. So we are confident that those steps will be sufficient in dealing with them.
So are these individuals going to face a disciplinary committee?
I have answered the question. Thank you very much.
You see, you are dealing with it. You are specific on facing a disciplinary committee.
Let's speak to Mr. Kofi Adams, who joins us on the telephone line right now, who is the national organizer of the NDC. Mr. Adams, I'm grateful that you join us here on NewsNite.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Can you please help us understand what your party constitution says in cases where people who are either running for a particular slot malign or attack another person, or use language that bring the party's name into disrepute? What are you allowed to do?
Of course, if it comes to the attention of leadership through any complaint, the party's disciplinary committee will take the necessary action. And so if your comment undermines the party's unity and also casts a slur against the party, the appropriate punishment will be exacted. And this punishment could be a caution, it could be expulsion from the party, which is the highest, and it could just be caution, which is the minimum. You could be suspended for a stated period, or you could be disqualified from contesting the position you are seeking to even contest.
And from what we hear, you already have 3 cases you are investigating?
3 cases we are investigating.
What are these cases?
I am not aware of any case that we are investigating.
Because we just heard the General Secretary said that some cases have come to the attention of the party.
And that has been referred to the committee already. I thought in relation to the executive contest that we are discussing, because we just opened nominations today.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
So if you are asking me about the national executive position, then we do not have any case. However, there are other cases against some persons, especially some flag bearer aspirants and the rest, and the comments they have made out there that some persons have brought petitions to us, which we are looking into.
Who are these aspirants?
I will not be disclosing that because we are now investigating. It will be unfair to disclose the names at this point.
On this same network, we've spoken to, in the last few days, one particular aspirant, Alban Bagbin, who on Friday accuses the former president of being a reckless driver and run the party into a ditch. And then over the weekend, he then goes ahead and accuses the entire executives of neglecting the base of the party while some of the executives were buying V8 and building mansions. Today, we've heard him say that there was a total neglect of the base of the party by some of the executives, including yourself. What do you make of these comments?
We will treat those comments at the appropriate courtesies. But Bagbin's statement should be treated with the contempt that they deserve by party members. That's all that I can say. Because I do know that Bagbin is not sleeping under a touch when he goes in Accra here and in Wa. I think one of the biggest houses in Wa belongs to him. First, I thought it was a hotel. So I'm surprised that he will be the one that will be talking about mansions here. And I want party members to treat his comments with the contempt that they deserve.
So, in other words, he's as guilty of what the same charges he's levying against others.
I don't see it as guilt. I don't see it as guilt. I really don't see it as guilt that if you are able to build a home for yourself, you should be guilty of such. I'll be surprised that Bagbin, who seeks to think that people should be better, should grow from possibly their challenged situation to a better situation, will be presenting himself that it is bad to have those things. Then why are you seeking to lead the people of Ghana if you don't intend to make their situation better? Why are you seeking to lead them? So I don't think that if he has that, it's bad. He is the one who sees it as bad. So you should be asking him why he has done so if he thinks that it is bad. I truly don't see it as bad. If I'm a leader, I'm supposed to give opportunity to people and lead them from where they were to a better state.
Well,
I will be happy.
So from what I mean, if you look at the exact readings of what he said, he was talking about those who worked and were around John Dramani Mahama. And of course, you were the campaign coordinator.
Who amongst and who was around President Mahama that has not worked for the party that he can point to? Who can he point to that did not work? Is there anybody that he can point to?
So it's true that those around Mahama bought V8 and built mansions?
I'm saying that you are telling me that you said there are people who didn't work and around President Mahama. And I'm asking who? He should have pointed to somebody and who has bought a V8 that he thinks that he doesn't qualify to buy, or who has a house that he thinks that he doesn't. I don't know anybody like that. But if he knows somebody, those who are working for His Excellency, our former president, and that he thinks so, he should put it out. But this blackmail, destruction of a party that you claim you want to lead, would not wash. If truly Mr. Bagbin is not out there to destroy the party, he must be careful with what he says. But for some of us, it's becoming very clear that it's an agenda to destroy the party, not to want to lead it. Because if truly you want to lead the party, you will not be speaking the way he is speaking.
The accusation you've just leveled is a serious one against a formidable party stalwart like Abambabe, the man who leads you in Parliament, as the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, that he is acting to destroy the party he seeks to lead?
I'm talking party matters here. I'm not talking who is Speaker or Deputy Speaker here. I'm not speaking Parliament. I'm talking party here.
But he's a stalwart of the party. He's a stalwart of the party.
I am scandalized by the comments coming from Mr. Bagby.
And you think it's calculated to destroy the party?
Clearly so. You do not get out there and then go and insult your colleague MPs that they don't have a mind of their own, when clearly that is not the case. If you are not intending to destroy the party, you will not be insulting everybody. The other day, it was about MPs being misled into signing a document. The MPs have come out clearly to tell you that they knew what they were signing, and that they knew they were signing a document to urge President Mahama to consider to contest for the leadership of the party again, because he is the only person they think is very capable at this moment to lead the party and to win an election for the party and to better the laws of the people of this country. Then you turn around and insult this person. That was not enough. The next time, it is to begin to attack President Mahama indirectly through persons who work for him or associate with him or have declared support for him. That should not be someone who is working for the good of the party that he wants to lead.
And very finally, if what you allege is what it is, such a serious thing to point at Babing that he was doing, what is the party's plan to deal with that?
You've just given indication the party disciplinary processes, and they would be invoked at the appropriate time. We will not invoke that on Newsfile or
NewsNite
or on JoyFM. That's not a platform where we deal with issues of members when they go wrong.
Should I take that Mr. Bagbing's issues are one of those that the reports you've received to probe?
I have not told you so. What I'm saying is that I'm scandalized by his comments, and it should not be coming from somebody who is seeking to lead the party like the NDC. No.
I'm grateful.
It should not be coming from somebody like that. He should be worried why his vote has dwindled over the period. That's what I thought he would have contributed towards that. I have been in Parliament, one of the longest serving MPs in this country from 1993. He's had all opportunities to serve as the Minister for Works and Housing, Minister for Health, and I think other opportunities have been given him, leadership of Parliament, minority leader, majority leader. So he's had a chance to serve. How come his people, even as the size of his constituency continue to reduce, the percentage votes that he garners keep reducing and reducing? And President Mahama keeps doing better in his constituency than he has done himself. He should be worried about this and to come out with solutions so that maybe the next person who will be taking over from him in that constituency could deal with and not going about attacking people.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That's Kofi Adams. He's the national organizer of the NDC. And a few of your comments on this story. Brima says, I think the NDC must draw his dagger on Alban Bagbing's campaign and call him to order. He has started the usual baseless attacks on John Mahama so early. And I think a return of fire by JM Camp would help the NDC's cause. And another one from Kusi says Kofi Adams cannot swindle discerning minds. Bagbing has corroborated the stories that we've already heard about the John Mahama campaign in 2016. And a final one on the first story we did, it says, what is a security analyst saying? What should the police do when they are being attacked? The police must show their power and strength to those who attack them in order to avert any future occurrence. That's from Godwin there. Keep your comments coming and we will share it with the rest of the world. When we return, the Aviation Ministry, they've served notice today that they will be demolishing all unauthorized structures on around in and around the airport area there. But the minority is urging caution. Details of that after business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And the World Bank has been speaking about development in the banking sector. They see that they back the Bank of Ghana. They don't think that it'll hurt the economy. It's in the interest of the economy. So full support for the Bank of Ghana. And we'll share with you how petroleum price increase would impact on the operations of businesses. The business news on NewsNite is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials, as well as stationery. Heaven Plus Insecticide, mosquito spray, pleasant on humans, tough nightmare on insects. United Pension Trustees, My Own Pension, Pension Papa, and Mark Auto Parts, distributors of Chevy cars.
That's the sound of my heart breaking the first time I said I wanted to be a cassava farmer.
Thank you.
But this was when I graduated with first class honors in agriculture. Oh, my first harvester. The last harvester I ordered online. That's people seeing my fresh cassava page on Facebook and Instagram. And endless number of calls for my quick fufu all year round.
There are beautiful connections that bridge humble todays to amazing tomorrows on Ghana's #1 network, everywhere you go.
The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us again. From the 1st of August to the 30th of September, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302-764-209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
That is a sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mac. Yes, Mac Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicles stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pockets. Mark Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website markghana.com. Mark Ghana, with you for the long run.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on NewsNite. And the World Bank says it fully supports measures taken by the central bank to clean up the sector and recent actions taken on the 5 liquidated banks. There are fears that this action could impact on investor confidence in the banking sector, while the associated cost with liquidation would increase the country's debt stock, a development that has been described as not so good in terms of prudent management of the economy. But the World Bank Country Director, Henry Karali, says looking at the critical role the sector plays, these actions might be described as necessary. He's also been speaking or advising the aggrieved shareholders to actually turn to the court system if they have any problem with the action.
I have seen the actions taken by Bank of Ghana in resolving 5 banks that were failing, or I should say ailing. This is a welcome piece of action because without that, it could have impacted the broader financial sector in Ghana. So we do welcome the actions taken by Bank of Ghana, and we look forward to working with them to further strengthen the remaining banks and also the new consolidated bank to ensure that depositors' funds are safe.
Henry Karali is the country director of the World Bank. Let's still stay on the banking sector because it's been more than a year after the Bank of Ghana withdrew the licenses of UTN Capital Banks, a development that the Bank of Ghana said threatened the entire banking system. So with news of panic withdrawals, what do businesses make of the current environment, and have their confidence in the sector been affected from the regulator's perspective, or how the sector has been regulated? Now that's the question I pose to the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Telecoms, that is Ken Ashibe.
I am confident in the banking system. I am challenged by what has happened. The fact that as a country, really we have not learned. If you even consider our brothers in Nigeria, what happened when Sanusi came in, it looks as if our regulators and our policy people did not really listen to what was happening, and we allowed that to play in. But I am encouraged by some of the what I'm hearing from government. I think that the governor of the Bank of Ghana, yes, it's a continuum. So Bank of Ghana have made some major mistakes in the past. Governments have made major mistakes in the past, but it's good what we are hearing now. And I'm happy when the Minister for Finance says that it's not as if banks collapsed, repeating what Sanusi said, but it was evil-minded people who brought us this far. And it is important that we operate by the hot stove principle and ensure that everybody who has contributed to this gets their time in court, get the opportunity of defending themselves, but they need to pay for it.
Ken Ashibe is the Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber. Now, this comment could be described as interesting, especially when it is said that development in the sector has resulted in some panic withdrawals from the local banks. Now, the adjustment in fuel prices have been described as marginal, and this has led to some downplaying its impact on the individual's budget. But it appears the real impact could be more than initially estimated. Let's get you details on how this development would affect the operations of businesses. Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers.
In petroleum numbers, 1% is a lot. What 2% means for, let's say, a VVIP driver who on a daily basis will do about 10 gallons, is that on each gallon now, there is a price difference of 4 cedis 50 pesos. So if he does just 10 in a day, he's now going to have to 4 cedis 50 pesos, right? If you do that by 30, what it means is that he may need additional 120 Ghana cedis, 150 Ghana cedis from somewhere. That is a cost to these people. It's a cost to businesses. If a company has about 100 fleet or 200 vehicles that moves in and around daily, and it's having to pay about 2% extra on its 100,000 Ghana cedis monthly consumption, do the numbers. That is quite something. If you come to the micro, someone who does a gallon and is having to pay about 4 cedi 50 extra may not feel it too much. But on the macro level, at the state level, everything goes up when fuel prices go up by even a percentage point. And
Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Now, small-scale traders have joined the call for a review of this whole cargo tracking node. The system, which was introduced from the beginning of last month, was to help advance information of shipments into the country to those who manage the taxing space. Now, earlier today, the Institute of Freight Forwarders indicated that they will withdraw their services from Monday if this actually service is not done away with. Now, this is because of how the service is structured. But it appears the Ghana Union of Traders also have a similar concern about this whole system. Let's hear from Dr. Joseph Obeng. He's the president of GUTA.
That if you are getting the values as source, then we don't have any issues here, because you have the values, then the benchmark and the discretions at the port should be the thing of the past. That's all that we are saying.
So you're okay with it, but those clarities should be with it.
Yeah, but then we are not to pay any cost. And then because we don't want any layer of cost. We are saying that there's still embedded somewhere $100 for us to pay. If that one is still there, then we'll put up a resistance. And also we are saying that we don't do this in isolation, because we can't pay an extortive tax, duties and all that.
Dr. Joseph Obeng is the president of the Ghana Union of Trade Association, sharing his thoughts there on this cargo tracking note system. And that's all for business on Newsnight. And that's all. And it looks like Baba is here with all about sports.
Of course. I'm here with the latest in the world of sports. We beat you to it, Evans. I'm sorry.
Over.
I've taken over.
No, don't worry. I mean, MFI will come back soon.
Oh, well...
And she's listening, so
that's fine.
Enjoy your space.
If she wants to take your place.
Well, not really. I already own my space.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. And she's sitting in MFS.
Let's enjoy the banter.
What do you have in the headlines, Bob?
Yeah, so Aduana Stars head coach Kenichi Yatsuhashi has defended his 4-1-4-1 tactics that saw him lose 2-0 at home to ASEC Mimosa of La Côte d'Ivoire in their penultimate group game of the CAF Confederation Cup. Chief Executive Officer of the Doma-based club, Albert Komeyaya, questioned Yatsuhashi's tactical disposition for yesterday's game, which he believes cost Aduana Stars at the Ajiman Park. Kenichi Yatsuhashi, however, believes that was the best option going into the game against ASEC Mimosa.
I explained to him clearly that when we are attacking, we have 3 strikers. Just like if we have 3-4-3 formation, if we had, everybody knows that we don't defend with a 3 in the back. It's going to be 5 in the back automatically. So I don't think necessarily the 4-1-4-1 was the problem. That's my opinion.
Now, Aduana Stars have no mathematical chance of progressing beyond the group stage of the Confederation Cup as they find themselves bottom of Group A with 4 points from 5 games. They travel to Morocco next to play Raja Club Athletic on August 29 to wrap up their campaign in the competition. That game will be a mere formality, and consequently, Kenichi Yatsuhashi is yet to plan for that encounter.
I haven't thought about it yet. We haven't had any training since the match yesterday. We have to train first, we have to prepare our team, then I'll come up with something that I'm going to tell. But at this point, I'm just analyzing what went wrong yesterday and making a plan for coming week.
And Van Arnold, they will be the back 4. In the back 3, middle 3 actually, we have MacArthur, Milovehic, and then we have Jeffrey Schlopp. And then top 3, that's the 3 strikers, Townsend, Benteke, and Zaha. For Liverpool, they have imposed Becker, Robertson, Van Dijk, Gomez, and Alexander Arnold. They will be the back 4 for Liverpool. And then Keita, Wijnaldum, and Milner will man the midfield. Striking for Liverpool will be Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, and Mo Salah. So each team doing 4-3-3 Evans.
Well, we'll see what happens, but I know it's going to be Liverpool is on fire.
You sure? A walk in the park for them?
Yeah, Liverpool is on fire. I mean, this is...
I hope...
City scored 6. I'm pretty sure they might probably score
You want to go on a bet? I haven't gone on a bet in a long time.
So what? You're saying Leicester will win?
Crystal Palace, actually.
Crystal Palace will win against Liverpool?
You know what? You look like you haven't recovered from your horror movie from yesterday.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Now, today, the aviation minister served notice they will be pulling down structures sited at unauthorized locations near the airport. The sector minister, Cecilia Dapa, took a turn at the Meet the Press series today and said they would demolish buildings she described as sited in critical areas. Well, according to her, some sensitive aviation gadgets positioned in the area cannot function effectively because of the encroachment. Well, the minority in Parliament, they are raising concerns about this, particularly on the Transport Committee in the House. We will get their view on this shortly. In fact, let's get to the phone lines and speak to Frank Abuja, who is a ranking member on the Transport Committee in Parliament. Mr. Abuja, what's your concern with today's notice that we got from the Aviation Minister?
Well, good evening, Evans, and good evening to your cherished listeners. We are aware, the committee actually is aware that some individuals and organizations have encroached the flight path where certain critical equipment installed for navigation have been located. Indeed, we are also aware that some of the structures were illegally built. What we have been concerned about is how come the Ministry of Aviation and its agencies have not been proactive enough to get those structures stopped before they get to the point of completion. But we've also been told by the ministry that they attempted stopping some of those people, but they went to court and placed an injunction on them. And while the injunction was in place, they kept building. So our concern is that the ministry shouldn't go and haphazardly demolish all structures. They should actually take time to identify those
Joy 99.7 FM
that have breached the law, so that we don't have a situation where, unfortunately, they go and demolish a structure and then realize that actually that structure is not part of the ones that have been built illegally. But in principle, we are not against government determination to ensure that the flight path is safe and that the gadgets installed function properly, because any breach of those things make all of us unsafe. And for that matter, we are not going to allow anybody to take us for a ride. However, we want the ministry to be proactive and very diligent in the way they carry out the demolition.
So clearly, from what we heard today from the aviation minister, they'll do that. I mean, and this has been a long time in coming. In fact, people say that government, your own committee, stood by and watched people build to where they've built to. We have skyscrapers, etc., maybe the buildings in that vicinity, and we only waited this late to act.
Yeah, well, you may be right in a way, and the thing is that as we speak, it's not even the Ministry of Aviation that is going to carry out the demolition. We know that agencies, for instance, we know there's EPA, the EPA requirements which have been breached. We know AMA have been trying to demolish some of the structures under a different regulation. So you may say that why did we all, including the committee, sit by? But like I said, sometimes you want to take an action, and then because it's rule of law in this country, somebody goes to court, and the court asks you to stay your action until further notice. And day and night, people keep building. You go back to court. They tell you wait until the full determination of the case. But I think we've gotten to a point where some of the cases have been determined under the laws of this country, so they can carry out the demolition. And we are in full support if the courts have legitimately said that some of the structures are illegally built. There's no reason we would oppose government on that. We are always saying that government should carry out this in a manner that those whose properties are not part of those ones that have been earmarked for demolition are demolished.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That is the ranking member on the Transport Committee in Parliament. Listen now to the Sector Minister, Cecilia Dapa, outlining what they intend to do with these unauthorized structures.
The land where our equipment is located is being encroached upon. And that was a very serious case. So I rushed there with the Director General of GCA and directors from the Ghana Airports Company Limited to go and see to what was happening. And indeed, we saw structures, and I openly said they should be pulled down if they are found in the critical areas that they don't need to be. I believe assessments have been done per the last briefing. We are working with AMA, the Lands Commission, to see which ones. We have three colors, and there's the white area, the red zone, and the blue. And all these carry certain structures that can be allowed. So we are in the process of assessment. And whichever structure that is found within any authorized area will be pulled down. And I mean will be pulled down because it is necessary for the safety of our aircraft that you use the flight path to be safe. So that is where we are. I believe the details, when we are done with the assessments and everything, will come out with that.
And that is the Sector Minister, Aviation Minister Cecilia Dapa, speaking on the intention to demolish these unauthorized structures. Now, to a sad story, the Ghana National Fire Service say they are yet to establish the cause of the fire that killed the wife of the Dansoman Seventh-day Adventist Church district pastor, his 4-year-old son, and a 3-week-old baby, as well as the mother-in-law and another child. Speaking in an interview with Joy News, the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Ghana Fire Service, James Quatting, said they are, however, close to unraveling the circumstances that led to that inferno. Mark Sogwagba was in the house today and filed the report.
Family members and friends of the bereaved pastor are clustered in a small room the day after the tragedy. In their grief, they find solace in the song, "My Soul Has Found a Resting Place." One of the pastors of the church will man up to say a prayer while also encouraging the other members.
You are God. He is also our pastor. Father, give him your presence. And give him faith to trust you. It's not only him, but the entire family, the entire church. We are shaken, but we still trust you. Amen. Help us not to talk from our human selves.
Pastor at the SDA Church, Pastor Thomas Techi Okran, has been briefing us after he had a short interaction with the family members here at the family house.
We are working out arrangements to deal with the funeral. However, the office, national office of the church, will come out with a statement that will provide whatever information you need officially at appropriate time. We ask that you pray for the family. The church is collaborating with both sides of the family of the funeral, that is the lady's family and the pastor's family.
Around 5:45, we heard my mom screaming that there's fire, so we should come out. So we came out and then we went back into, I was not dressed properly, so we went back to get my dress and then we came out. When we got out, all we heard was people screaming. So we started calling the fire service. They were not answering. So I went to the junction to get a taxi to the fire service station at Dansoman here.
An eyewitness are recounting what happened that led to the deaths. Now, the funeral arrangement of the late UN Secretary General Kofi Annan will be announced after the Asante-Hene is formally informed of his passing. Now, his family members here in Ghana say they will meet Otumfuo Osei II this week as tradition demands because Kofi Annan was one of his chiefs. The former UN boss died last Saturday after a short illness, and tributes have been pouring in from world leaders. Prince Appiah visited the family house in Kumasi and now reports.
Disappointment written all over the faces of family members of the late global statesman Kofi Annan. The last time he met the family was during the funeral of the late Asante-Hene held in Kumasi. Ebusuapeni Nana Brewu II explains how the family received the news.
Almost everybody wouldn't believe by the first sentence. They have to question again, I have to repeat and repeat till it sunk in. So we were all under shock until the confirmation came that it was actually happened in Switzerland.
For the family, they have lost a great mind.
Even sometimes if you tell people that he's from your family, mostly they don't believe.